Welcome, everybody. It is time for Scale Through the Fail Reagent Rescue Edition, and we are about to jump in and take a look and see whether we could take 10 hours a week and turn it into a vibrant, flowing, thriving real estate business. We've got a special guest with us today that I can't wait to bring on. But first, let's get that intro rolling. What's up, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Scale Through the Fail Reagent Rescue, where we are centered around just pouring into other agents and supporting them in whatever needs they have. I'm about to bring on our very special guest joining us today, who is awesome and vulnerable and coming on the show and saying, man, I'm ready to level up. I need some help. So let's go ahead and bring her on. Hey, Brandy, are you there? Can you hear us okay?
I am. Can you hear me?
I hear you. What's up, Brandy? How you doing today?
I'm on the treadmill. I didn't know this. Is this like a podcast or what is this?
Yeah, it's a podcast show. It's all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we designed it. It's called the overarching show is called Scale Through the Fail. And it's got a bunch of sub kind of shows like Reagent Rescue. We also have real estate news, noise, and what's next on Fridays. And we actually will have some more coming out soon. And it's all designed to just bless and serve agents and help them through whatever they're going through in their business and give them actually helpful, information.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff out there, let's be real, like it's just another sales pitch. And you're like, okay, that's great and all, but like at any point, are you actually going to help me? Or
Right.
am I really on my own in this? So I'm glad you made it on. And it looks like Tyler is here in the nick of time. I wasn't sure he was going to make it on the show today, too. So we're going to bring Tyler in. Tyler, welcome, brother. Glad you made it.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Heck yeah. Did you guys see the new logo? What do you guys think? Pretty cool, right?
It's beautiful.
Credit to my wife. She's a great designer. All right. So the way that the show works for everybody tuning in and for Brandy yourself, because this was all of a sudden for you, but you reached up your hand, you said, you know what, let's go for it. Let's get crazy. So the way the show works, guys, is that we have a little questionnaire that people fill out. We read through that questionnaire just to kind of give us a little bit of backstory of where they're at in their business and some of the problems that they're facing. And then within this session, within 30, 45 minutes, we're going to try and address these problems. And at the very least, give them a clear direction of where to go next. If we're not able to solve the problem entirely in the session, which, let's be real, business takes work and it takes time. And so not all problems are solved in one sitting. But the hope is that you got some strong clarity on what to do about the issues you're facing in your business currently, Brandy. Does that sound like a good plan, Brandy?
Sure does.
Awesome. All right. And for everybody listening, if my voice is cutting in and out, I am still sick, but I still really wanted to do the show. Everybody who knows me, like I still wanted to do it. So here I am. So Brandy, what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of recap some of the things you shared. And then kind of dive deeper into them. We're going to ask questions. You're going to be able to respond and things like that. It's going to be much more like a conversation that just has a purpose of actually being helpful. Okay. Does that sound good to you?
Yep.
Awesome. So let's see. Brandy, you've been in the business for about, what year is it? 2023 now? Ooh, it's 2023 already. What the heck happened? And you've been licensed for about what is that 7-8 years now? 8 years?
Yes, but I'm in a new market than where I started, but totally yes.
That can always be really tough to do. That's what I did. That's what I did to start the business. Talk about an uphill battle there. Okay, you are a solo agent, correct?
Yes.
You're not on a team. You're not exclusive with a builder, and you're not like a broker or anything like that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, I like that ambition. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Now, we don't name brokerages. A couple things for everybody listening. We do not name people's brokerages. We don't name their teams if they're on a team. We don't name anything like that because the focus is not on the brokerage and the focus is not on them. It's on your business. So I want you to know that too, Brandy, that as you're talking and we're discussing things, we don't need to know where you're at with your brokerage or anything like that, because by the end of this, you should have some actionable points. And it's more of a personal decision on whether you feel what you need to do is being served with, whether you're on a team, working for a builder, at a brokerage, running your own brokerage. Those are all personal decisions that we don't really want to get into. We just want to get into the actual problems that you're facing currently. Okay. Awesome. So, again, we won't name names, but currently you kind of feel like your brokerage has not been helping you a ton. In the last 12 months, you've closed 2 deals. I'm assuming you'd love to get some more under your belt.
Yes.
Naturally, of course. You've got some big goals. You would love to make a million in real estate. But obviously, at a base level, what are you looking for? And so I always love to do need versus want. Want, $1 million. Okay. What's your need? Hey, I got to make this much from real estate to stay in real estate.
I don't really have a need. I mean, I'm luckily in a position I don't have to work. So it's all based on want. I hate using the word want, but my desire of how I would like my business to be.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. All right. So right now you said you have one of the things you feel you do really well in real estate is knowing the ins and outs of the transaction process. That's a great thing to know, by the way, the amount of agents that don't know that. And it's like, come on, you got to know those. So I'm glad that you feel strong in that. And then one of the areas you said you feel you need to improve on is lead gen. I think that's a pretty common thing. Tyler, would you say it's a pretty common thing that comes up a lot with agents, even senior top producers, man?
I am always thinking about lead generation.
And
it is everyone's job all the time, is my personal
Should I try that program? Should I use this strategy? Could I be producing more leads? It never goes away. Now, Brandy, is this correct when you said you have 10 hours a week that you can dedicate to working on your business?
I mean, I have more, but I want to be, I guess, conservative.
No, I want you to be conservative. Absolutely. So I'm glad you did that. Overstating is just one of the worst things that people do. And I'm like, I can't help you if you kind of exaggerate things. So I'm really appreciate that you were conservative. So if it's 10 hours a week, one of the key things that we're going to be discussing today is absolutely efficiency then for 10 hours. Okay, so then if you don't mind, we're going to just run through a couple of the extra questions and then we're going to just dive right into it. So you currently don't use a CRM, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And yes or no's, don't even worry about it. We're going to dive into it. Let's see. Not really tracking any of the aspects in your business currently either. It's more of kind of just a freestyle thing. As it comes, it comes. Is that right?
Great. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. You said you personally feel like you're not doing enough to grow your business, but you want to change that, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so those are kind of the basics. We didn't dive in too much because I wanted to save some of it for the show to make sure it's a conversation, right? So a couple of things that we're going to discuss. So you might see me writing down too in real time. So if I'm looking down, I promise I'm not scrolling through Facebook or watching TikToks. I'm actually taking notes and writing things because I actually want to help you. So 10 hours a week, being conservative, no tracking or CRM. Just okay, because we'll get into that. So one thing we need to identify, though, is we do need to set some sort of income goal. We need to set some sort of realistic income goal. So if you close 2 in the last 12 months, jump into a million. While you can work your way towards that, it's not going to be realistic for the next 12 months, right? So what we want to do is set at least an income goal. Maybe there's something that you want to earn to work towards. If you don't need the money, maybe you want to buy another investment property. Maybe you want to, right? Last year I took like 15 members of my family to Disneyland and paid for everything, right? That was not cheap. So that was a big goal to work for financially. So do you have kind of something that can help us identify an income goal? Because we do need some sort of goal.
Can we say 4 transactions?
Yeah, we can do a transactional goal. That is totally fine. Since you don't need the money, the transactional goals is okay to do. When you need money, when it's about really scaling your business, it's more about net profit than it is transactional, right? If you could do 2 deals and make $1 million, you wouldn't care about doing 4 deals. But for this conversation, you're wanting to double your production basically from the last 12 months. Fantastic. For transactional. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions basically about what you do during those 10 hours a week. Tyler, feel free as we're going through this. If you've got anything you want to add in, you kind of know my process and how I go through it. But so you have 10 hours a week. Is that 10 hours and it's more of like 2 hours for 5 days? Where does that 10 hours come from? Like, how is it available to you?
Like I said, I'm pretty open, so it can be structured if it makes more sense to do, like, I don't know, if I say like 5 hours a day and then I'm only doing 2 days a week, then that's not really a business either. So, yeah, I think it can be whatever it needs to be.
Okay, this is good. I'm making notes already. I've already got some stuff going through my head.
I guess a question that I have is if you were going to choose the days or that you're going to allocate your 10 hours to, would you split it up across multiple days, or would you do it in 2 days? Would you do 5 hours in 2 days, or would you rather do 2 hours across 5 days? And then the follow-up is, if you're going to do it in, 2 hours across 5 days, would you do it in the morning or would you do it in the evening?
I would do morning, 2 hours, 5 days.
I'm writing this down. Now, let me ask you this, Brandy. So this 10 hours a week, if we gave you a clear-cut path, but it required an extra 5 hours, so 15 hours a week, would that be something that you feel you could commit to?
Yes.
Okay. And I assumed you were going to say that because you said it could be more. And most of the time when someone says it could be more, it means, hey, I'm not really sure what more to do. So I don't want to go commit to something, but I don't have a plan to commit to it, because that doesn't make any sense. Then you're just, I'm working 40 hours a week doing what? Right. So, okay. So that's really helpful too. I've got some awesome things. Tell me if at any point, Brandy, you've got questions or we're moving too fast. This is a newer segment of the show. And so we're still learning the perfect, if you will, right? Perfect way of breaking it down into a clear and concise manner. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing is I'm going to ask you, we're going to assume that you're willing to at least do 15 hours. So not a huge jump. I'm not going to be one of those people who go 10 to 40 hours. Listen. Let's do a small incremental jump, because after you start putting this into practice, you'll start to say, how much time do I need? I know how much time I need, and you'll be able to budget appropriately. But I think to do effectively what I'm about to suggest, I think we're going to need at least 15 hours in a week. Okay. So first and foremost, one of the things, I didn't mention is, Tyler, she said, and everybody watching, if you could pick only one problem for Reagent Rescue to help you solve in the 45-minute live session, what would that one problem be? And that was unique lead gen. So before I jump into the other stuff and just steamroll, can you explain a little bit more when you say unique lead gen? What are you wanting us to help you solve?
Thank you for asking that. So I'm not the door knocking, cold calling type. So that's why one of the reasons why I said unique. The other reason is I am in an extremely unique market. The state I came from, I did fairly decent in my business. I didn't do any of those things. I didn't even ever have to do like a listing presentation. It was just all referral and relationship based. I'm in a completely different state. where I know absolutely nobody. So I know that's not something that's going to work at the moment, but still not willing to door knock or cold call. But the market itself, if agents close 8 deals a year here, that's very, very good. That's like a higher producing agent
I'm actually
here.
pretty familiar with the Hawaii market.
What's that?
I'm pretty familiar with the Hawaii market. For everybody listening, you are over what island are you on again?
You're cutting out a little bit. I didn't hear that.
Am I cutting out?
I hear you just fine.
Okay, it might be a cell signal. I think you're on your phone, right, Brandy?
I'm on my Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. What island are you on in Hawaii?
I'm on Kauai.
Kauai. Okay, yeah. So I actually have some great partners in Hawaii, so I'm relatively familiar with exactly what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same as like I've got an agent that I've worked with that sold 76 homes, but they're like $120,000 price points, right? But in Hawaii, when you're looking at 1.2, 5 million, like that's a whole different. You don't need to sell 50 homes a year
Right.
to be a top producer and make great money.
Right.
All right,
And we
so
don't have the inventory, and it's a
right,
very
that's the other thing
local.
too. Right. Inventory is
Yeah.
definitely a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
When it comes to Hawaii. Absolutely.
Brandy, what do you like to do for fun?
I just recently got scuba certified. So
Okay.
Way.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Awesome. I do love like the ocean. I have a paddleboard. I love finding new beaches all the time. There's so many beaches here. I love that. And excuse me, I don't have kids, so I don't have, that's another thing is everyone's like, go to your kids' game, go volunteer on a parent thing. I don't have that either. So I can't do that.
Listen, I have kids and I don't do that.
But yeah, like outdoors, I mean, obviously I love shopping. I love reading. Like I do a lot of things that don't involve other people, which is kind of a hard thing also.
No, listen, Tyler knows me. You couldn't be talking to a better person when it comes to being kind of let's be polite to ourselves and say independent. Okay?
Yeah.
Independent for our fun. I'm borderline a hermit when it comes to what I do, which most people don't assume because I'm on these shows and I'm happy and excitable. But man, I do not like to actually go out and spend too much time socializing. I like to do my thing on my time and my schedule.
Robert's allergic to sunlight.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love
Probably
sunlight.
tell.
You wouldn't like Hawaii if you don't like sunlight.
You know what it is? You know what? Actually, Hawaii was the one ocean that I actually liked. I generally do not like the ocean, and Hawaii, because it was warm and clean and clear, and that was where my wife and I went on our honeymoon, and she loves the ocean, so I was like, oh, fine, I'll do it for you. And I was like, this is not too bad. I like this.
Yeah. Yes, it's beautiful. But every island is also different, like as well. Separate MLSs, and so it's, and Hawaii, Kauai especially, sometimes I feel like I'm in another country. Things are about 40 years behind the way things are processed. Like when I got my license here, it was all by paper. I had to hand sign everything and mail it to Honolulu. Yeah. So it's just a very different place.
It's hard
in so many ways.
Hawaii has a lot of complications. I mean, they import the vast majority of their resources as well. And so like that slows down the process. They've got a lot of transplants because of the military bases and things like that. So there's a lot that goes that makes Hawaii a unique market for sure. Yeah. It's not the same as LA, and it's not the same as Nashville and Miami and Orlando and things like that.
And to add to all of that, you have you have to be sensitive to the culture, and people that don't, there's some people that don't want other people that didn't grow up here being here. And so you just have to be, I mean, a lot of it's not
walk that line.
Yeah. It's not super logical because we're at a time where We travel and we have airplanes and we do those things. And so it's just hard. Like that's another line to walk, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. Now, the good news is that there are agents on every island who are top producers, which means
Yes.
that the possibility is there.
Yep.
It's now just creating the plan and process to achieve that. Right.
Yes.
And fortunately, I know some of those agents, which means that I know some of the things they're doing, and I know some of the things that they've taught and shared with others. And so we'll be able to tap into some of those proven strategies and processes that, and I'm making notes this whole time. I'm about to hit you with a bunch of stuff that we know do work in your particular market, which is fantastic, which is even better because your market's so unique. All right. So I'm going to start going down the line. I might have some other things that come up. If you might want to have something to write down, but at the least ask your questions as we go through, and then I can send you a replay of this once it's done, so that if there's anything here that you found value with, we can jump back into. So we agreed we can, as long as there's a plan, 15 hours a week, you're willing to do. So here's what where we're going to talk about. So a lot of agents waste a ton of time. They waste about 80% of the time they have. Doesn't matter if they have 2 hours or they have 20 hours, 40 hours, 80 hours in a week. They waste about 80% of it. And I would argue, honestly, probably even more. So first and foremost, we need to make sure that whatever is on your calendar is the highest priority. Hey, there you are. What's up? So we need to make sure whatever on your calendar is the highest priority possible. You don't have room for anything that's medium or low priority. Those are your luxuries. Those are things you get to do if you want to work extra hours beyond these 15 hours. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly teach you how to essentially decide whether something should be on your calendar or not. Because that's the first thing we got to do, is we got to make sure that what with the limited time that you have, and even if you don't have limited time, but with whatever time you spend on your business, it is not a waste of time. It is only things that move the needle closer to your goal, which is 4 transactions. So I'm just pulling up some other notes here. So here's a little bit of kind of the process. So first, you're going to want let's just, I'm going to use an example. You can go find your own type of calendar. I'm just going to use mine just to walk it through. So you're going to grab Google Calendar. What you're going to do is that the night before you wake up to work, the night before, you're going to write down the tasks that you need to get done the next day. Don't worry. I'm going to tell you what those tasks are. I'm literally going to tell you what to do. So I'm just breaking down first the process. So you're going to write down those tasks the night before. I personally would write them down on paper. When we write something, actually, it helps to imprint into memory. It also makes us feel like we got it out of our system. Okay. After you're done writing down those tasks, and it shouldn't be a ton with the limited hours that you have. Let's say it's 3-4 things to do that day. Then you're going to ask yourself this question about that task. If I do this, what happens? And if I don't do this, what happens? You need to teach your brain why this is important. It also helps you to reason through whether it's important or not. There's things that I've seen on my calendar and I go, if I don't do this, what happens? And nothing happens. It doesn't really affect my business. It doesn't belong on my calendar then. But if it has a high impact, then you know it's a high priority. What is high impact? High impact means that it makes you money and it has a deadline, essentially. You have to get it done within a certain amount of time or you won't make money. That's one of the easiest ways for high priority items. High priority items are going to be things like follow-up, lead gen, tracking, and setting your tasks. If you're under contract, you also throw in things like writing offers, showings, closings, things that directly make you money. So very simple. Now, it is not things that do not directly correlate to deadlines and making you money. If it doesn't do those things, they're a medium priority or a low priority. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
I know it's kind of a crash course, so forgive me if it's a little sporadic. All right. So the things that should be on your calendar, we're going to say through the week, since you're not really doing, like 4 to 5 hours a day and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna suggest. Then what we're gonna say is during the week, through the 15 hours that you work, you need lead gen, you need follow up, you need any immediate contract needs. That includes showings, writing offers, servicing your under contracts, going to the closing table, those types of things, and then tracking and data entry. You're going to need to be very efficient with these times. So you might want to, if you're prone to distractions, like 99% of us in the world, you might want to use an app that helps block anything that distracts you. Social media, right? For me, I sometimes find myself scrolling on Facebook. Man, get that crap out of here. I don't have time to waste on that, right? And with how limited your time is, you can't waste a minute, right? But here's the good news. 15 hours, 4 transactions, 100% doable. I'll say that. Tyler, would you agree?
100%.
100% doable. Yes, even in Hawaii's difficult market. You are talking to someone who does know the market, so I want you to be encouraged by that. I'm not just some random guy on the internet who has nothing about that market and is like, yeah, you can do everything and it's possible, and have no clue what I'm talking about. I work with plenty of agents from Hawaii. We can do this. All right, so here's what I'm going to suggest how your week looks. On Monday, I suggest that you're going to dedicate 1/3 of your total 15 hours, so that's 5 hours, to roughly lead gen and CRM. Okay, so what that means is, and we're going to get more into what those details are, that means you're going to spend 4 hours on lead gen. That's a lot. I know. It's called front loading. Because you don't have the time to dedicate it to each day, we've got to be really strategic in how we approach this. So 4 hours of lead gen on Monday, that's called front loading. It's getting one of the most important things first. Okay. Then after that, you're going to spend about 45 minutes to an hour. Now you can do this in real time, but I'm going to have you time block for it. You're going to spend 45 minutes to an hour getting them into a CRM. Okay. CRM is going to work for you when you're not working. I don't like to tell people what you have to do. I strongly encourage you to have a CRM so that those 15 hours, that's just 15 hours of your manual labor, but your business is working more hours than that for you. Okay. It's going to help you remember things. It's going to help you not fall through the cracks, right? With how limited the inventory is, a smaller clientele pool, you can't afford to have people slip through the cracks. Missing one good lead could set you back months, right? So we don't want that to happen. So a CRM is going to be one of the most important things. But the good news is once you get it running and you just make the habit, it is not a lot of work. It's really not a lot of work. People think it's a lot of work just because they've never made a habit of it. But I've got agents who are brand new, that use a CRM every day, and it takes them 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. So have hope in that. We're talking about crap. I got to get used to a CRM. It's a little bit of learning curve. Once you get the learning curve down, then we're talking about 5 to 10 minutes. Not bad at all. Would you agree?
Yep.
Okay.
Enough.
All right. So 4 hours of lead gen on Monday. Then you're going to do your CRM. And that it shouldn't take you that long, especially if you have your CRM while you're doing your lead gen, because then you'll be able to add them in real time. Oh, I just connected with Tyler Gibson and I got some of his information. And we will talk about lead gen strategies in a second, okay? I won't leave you hanging. That's the number one problem, okay, that you want us to fix. Oh, I'm connected with Tyler Gibson. I got his information. I'm not going to wait till the end of the day to add him into my CRM. I'm going to add him in real time. It's going to be up on my computer. And I will, if I'm talking to him on the phone or messaging him in real time, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to actually add you into my CRM. And I'm going to send you a text real quick or an email real quick just to make sure it went through, right? And so I'll verify, one, that the information he gave me is correct. And then 2, I've already got it in my CRM, so now I don't have to do that later. So it's compounding the tasks on top of it. Some people call it task stacking. Just be careful that that's not multitasking. 2 different things, okay? So then at the end of the day, you're going to want to track what you did that day. I'm going to share with you, because you were willing to come on the show, I'm going to share with you normally a tracker that is paid for and exclusive only for people in our paid coaching and stuff. I'm going to give it to you for free. I will share you this tracker sheet, and it will help you to be able to track this stuff so that you don't have to guess what you need to track. You just have your CRM, this tracker up in real time, and it's going to be so much easier to update it as you go. It's going to change your life. I promise you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So for Monday, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, clear. And again, we're going to get into lead gen strategies, but as far as structure, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now, eventually that will change. That last hour will change and your lead gen will change. Eventually, you won't need to lead gen 4 hours, but we need to get you past clients enough, just like you said in your old business, to where you had referrals coming in. So you're going to do a lot of heavy lifting in the beginning to build up that database that you need. But then we're going to eventually shrink that down to 2 hours on Monday. That's going to be our target goal, is that you become so consistent with your referrals that the lead gen is working for you even when you're not working, that your manual lead gen for new clients is 2 hours and it's high impact. Okay, but that's going to come later. And I added you on Facebook, so now you can reach out to me. You're in a group chat with Tyler and myself as well. So this is going to be something that we can actually follow up with you later on and you can reach out to us about. All right, so then we got Monday. Now, what you're going to do is for the rest of the week, and I'm going to assume you're working 5 days a week. I'm just going to use that as a model because you've only got 15 hours, right? You're basically going to dedicate about 45 minutes a day to following up with these leads that you heavily front-loaded on Monday. So Tuesday, you're going to be following up with these people. Wednesday, you're going to be following up with these people. You're also going to be following up with past clients, referrals, and other things that maybe you didn't manually generate or didn't quite know they were going to come in the pipeline. Okay? Then you're going to spend 15 minutes once again doing your CRM, right? Follow up and tracking and your tracker. Okay? This is imperative what you do, because when you do your CRM and you're tracking every single day and your tasks, you will know for the next day what your highest priorities are. It will start to teach you the good and the bad of your business. And unlike most agents, you won't have to wait until you go out of business to figure out what was wrong. You'll know up front, okay, listen, today, here's what happened. Here's what needs to happen tomorrow versus, oh, I just wasted 2 years of my life and I didn't produce the results I needed. And I still don't even know what's wrong with my business. You're going to be able to fix it in real time. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So that's about 5 hours right there for the rest of your week on follow-up specifically and tracking / CRM. And again, because you're only doing 4 hours front loading, you're not going to have, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads to follow up with. That's why we can keep it to roughly an hour. The last 5 hours are going to be what I'm going to call split time. And when I say split time, that means that first and foremost, it'll be for showings, writing offers, and appointments, buyer and listing appointments. That'll be what it's for first. If you're short on those, it will be then split. In other words, if you've got that 5 hours left, then 4 hours of it is spent on one thing and you've got an hour remaining, that's going to go back to your lead gen because we want to get those numbers up as quickly as possible. So first, those remaining 5 hours, which is flex time, which means whenever that client's available, whenever it works for them, because you said you're pretty flexible too, you're going to use that time. Then for the whatever time you have remaining, you're going to put it right back into your lead gen. And remember, lead gen and follow-up are two separate things. A lot of agents make the mistake of combining them. They think that their follow-up is their lead gen. Lead gen is new contacts, people who don't know you, people who don't know what you offer. Follow-up is people you have talked to, people you've started a conversation with. Two separate things, two separate strategies. Now, does that make sense for your 15 hours just in kind of a rough overview?
Yes.
Awesome. How you feeling so far, by the way?
Good.
Yeah? Is it
Yeah.
kind of piecing it together, giving you some clarity and direction?
Yes.
Awesome.
Sound easy peasy.
Right? Isn't it nice? It's not as complex as it seems. And I
know.
honestly wish someone did this for me.
We definitely overcomplicate when it stays in our brain,
Oh, it's one of the worst things we do to ourselves is we
Yeah.
just it festers in our brain and it just dramatizes everything, gets bigger and bigger and worse and more complex. And it's like, whoa. You only need to do one or two things right now. That's
Yeah.
it. Simple, step by step. Okay. So, now let's actually talk about the lead gen. Okay. So what did we started? I try to be very good about time. I'm trying to actually get better on myself because I love what I do. And so then I sometimes end up going over, and I want to be respectful of your time, Tyler's time, my time, the audience's time. So we've got about 25 minutes left to jump into the lead gen side of things. Okay. So hobbies are a great way. We've talked about being scuba certified. You love the ocean, beach, reading, things like that. But hey, Robert, I don't really like to do those things with others. Here's the thing. Same. Okay. But here's how I turned around and turned that into a profitable business. Okay. So my first year in real estate as a brand new agent in a new place, no family, no friends, no sphere of influence, I sold 34 homes.
Wow.
Okay. And hey, there's people who sold way more than me. So like, yeah, that's cool and all, but it could also still be better. I still wasted a lot of time not knowing what I was doing. I think one of the best strategies you're going to use is a Facebook group. It's going to allow you to take your hobbies and what you love about where you live and funnel people into it with resources, with tools, with strategies. Chris heard Facebook. Chris is one of my partners as well, Brandy. This is what we I wasn't sure you're gonna make it, Chris. Chris is a Facebook king. So Chris, we've covered a lot with Brandy already. I don't know if you've been watching. So what we're actually talking about right now is her unique market in Hawaii. And actually, Chris, I know you've worked with agents in Hawaii as well, and Facebook's. We're talking about Facebook groups and how we think that for someone like Brandy, who's got very limited time to work in the week, has a lot of passion and hobbies, loves to be out and about, loves to go explore and love the life that she's living. Facebook groups is a great way for someone to turn around and build a business that works while she's not there and allows her to take her hobbies and her professional experience and build relationships with people online. Would you agree, Chris? Yeah. Oh, wait, did he freeze?
Yeah,
His internet.
definitely.
Oh,
I'll
dude, you got to
Okay.
get that internet checked out.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Okay. This last week has been like
This
crazy.
might be my computer now because the internet's new. So
It's like the island internet. You never know if you're gonna have it.
That's a good point. Yeah. So
Except he doesn't live on an island. He doesn't have an
Oh.
excuse.
uh
He does live in the woods, though.
yeah.
So-
he is a lumberjack. So Brandy, I don't want us to lose this time. So what you're gonna do is, and Chris, I would love for you to chime in. Tyler, I know you work Facebook groups too, so this is fantastic. What a great panel to have. So Chris, for Brandy wanting to get started with building Facebook groups that match her ability to work, the time that she has, which time constraints, which Facebook groups can work really well with. She wants to generate leads, where she's already said she's willing to do the front loading of leads on Monday and just dedicate a huge block of time and then follow up during the week and then leave time left over for showings, contracts, things like that, we can't always predict. So just kind of flex time. What would you say are some of the ways that you would advise her to get started? And just in case you didn't know, some of her hobbies are she's scuba certified. She loves the ocean, the beach. She loves reading. Obviously, if she's living in Hawaii, she loves Hawaii because you came from the states, the what do they call it? Continental
Mainland.
states? Is that what they
Mainland.
call it? Mainland. There we go.
Mainland.
Mainland. Thank you. I knew I said there's a word. So Chris, what would some suggestions you give her for getting started in the Facebook groups? Would you agree? First of all, would you agree that Facebook groups is probably a great strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would take a look and see what's out there first. See what groups are already out there. See what groups you can engage with. Find the people that are already doing what you want to do, and then also look for that niche that doesn't exist currently, or that's not being ran properly, or that's nobody's being consistent with, because that's huge in the Facebook group industry. There might be 100 groups for homes for sale in Middle Tennessee and Tennessee, but maybe 5 or 6 of them are actually doing well. The rest of them have a couple thousand members, whereas you have some of mine that will excel and grow. The same thing could be for any hobby. I mean, it depends on how consistent you are. Same thing for everybody's business, right? Depends on how consistent you are up front. So for me, Facebook groups, it's like it can be a full-time job just running and managing, depending on how many groups you have. I've got like 50. Luckily, I have a full-time employee that helps me manage all of those on the back end. That helps a lot. But for a long time, it was me running a couple large groups that I would work on every single day. And it's just figuring out what vibes with you. I did hear something that is a little tough, and it would significantly hurt your conversion rate. And that's waiting until Monday to start new conversations with people. So the leads are just like any kind of Facebook leads are just like any other kind of leads that you're going to get. As soon as they come through, if you talk to them as soon as they come through, they know where they came from, right? They know what house they just clicked on, because when your CRM dings and says, hey, Joe Blow just looked at this house, why don't you give him a call? And you call him and he's like, oh yeah, I did just look at that house. But when you call him a week later and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and then hangs up on you because he has no idea. He can't remember. I mean, it's probably like me. I can't remember what I had.
Chris, just to clarify there, she has daily time set aside for following up with those leads as they come in. Lead gen.
There's following up. So following up with people you've already talked to, or starting new conversations too. That's two different things as well. So it's not just follow up. I mean, you're still making initial contact with a lot of them. So it's figuring that out. So just making sure I get the verbiage correctly and know what to expect there.
Right. Yeah. Because I know we define it a little bit differently. So that's why I wanted to clarify too.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, absolutely, Brandy.
Okay. So I actually started a Facebook group, but I haven't let anybody in there because, and there's people pending, which is so silly, but I want to have like value and stuff in there built in before I let people in there. So they're not coming to like a blank group because it's just started. Right. But I named it Moving to and From Kauai. And then I asked questions like, if you're moving from, what state, and then what part of the island are you moving to? And then same if they're moving away, like where are you going? That kind of thing. So I did start that, but then I think I've kind of had a hard time. If it's called that, then I would feel like I would need, and part of my intention is to create value. Obviously, yes, I want leads, but there was so much that I didn't know when I moved here that I would have loved to have somebody be like, this is not only culture things, where to find things, but how do you move across an ocean? Like, what do I need? Mm-hmm. Just because living here is entirely different than when somebody comes on vacation. So that was like my intention with that. And then same thing with going off, right? Like, how do I get, a good shipping company and like all that stuff? Like I shipped a car here. And so I have done all of that. So that was that intention. But then I'm like, okay, so then what? Okay, so then they're here. Then what do I put in the group to make it so that, I don't want them to necessarily leave the group, because it's like, okay, well, now I'm here or now I've gone. So then I thought maybe I named it the wrong thing, but there are a million Kauai groups here. And it's hard because it's mixed with tourists that want to come here or that are coming here or that have been here, and then they put their pictures in there. I loved my trip. This is what we did. Or people saying, I want to take a Nepali cruise tour. Who's the best company? Like, so it's just such a mix of all kinds of stuff that I'm like, I don't know how, again, the culturally sensitive part to just be like, hey, I mean, also, I don't want to be like a used car salesman, right? Where I'm like, hey, if you need to buy a house, hit me up. So.
Yep. So let me jump in. I think you're overthinking it a little bit. First of all, when people join Facebook groups, very rarely do they ever leave. Very rarely, in my opinion. Think about it for yourself. When was the last time you joined a Facebook group and then after a while you were like, oh, I don't need to be a part of that group anymore? Did you go and actually physically leave that group?
I leave groups daily, especially when
you are an anomaly, in my opinion.
I got you, Brandy. I'm the same way.
And just stay,
all right.
So, but the other thing is, from a value perspective, yeah, you want to give value. You could make those featured or pinned posts at the top so people see it every time they come in. But in terms of active daily engagement, share the hobbies that you like to do. Share your photos from when you're out finding a new beach, when you're out paddle boarding. You can obviously talk about the market from time to time in that group to keep people educated, but absolutely let tourists join your group and post their photos. It is great content for your own group. You can set your group up in such a way that you have post approval so people can't just post things willy-nilly, and I would highly suggest that so that you get to control the narrative. But between that and having good questions on your request form can help you identify who's here to just get some entertainment or education versus who's really looking to move. and then you can tailor your conversations going forward. Those are my initial thoughts as you talk about already having a group and having pending people. What a shame. You should already be engaging with those folks. And when you are engaging with them, I suggest that before you approve them into the group, you try to add them as a friend. And if you can't, you at least send them a message, a Facebook message. And if you're comfortable with it, video. Hey, George, just saw that you tried to join the group. I'm the administrator here. Going to approve you now. Let me know if you have any questions. When are you coming to town?
So video is huge. Video is great. People are not expecting it, right? They join a group, they're not expecting video, and you're gonna be the only person doing it. But one of the things that I heard you say that scares me just a little bit is the fact that you're removing yourself from so many groups. In my opinion, it scares me because you've got the knowledge gaps there. The reason you're removing yourself from the groups is the knowledge gaps and not knowing how to utilize those groups effectively to generate the business, which is why you're leaving, right? Because there are ways you can utilize other people's groups, but there's that knowledge gap there. So you have to figure that out. So whenever I first started, I was leveraging other people's groups, just like Robert did. I was leveraging everybody else's group. And then I'm like, hey, I want to be in control of this. So once I got really good at leveraging everybody else's groups, then I'm like, all right, I'm starting my own. I want to be in control. I want to be the admin of all this. So without knowing how to utilize the internal parts of the group without being an admin, there's those knowledge gaps there that you've got to fill, right? We teach on a lot of this stuff, but there's ways to utilize it. So knowing how to use someone else's group is going to make you a lot better at utilizing your own group. Because if the members are in there and you can't even pull stuff out of somebody else's group that already has activity, you're going to struggle to pull a group out of your own group, pull leads out of there. So going back to the basics of, okay, what are they there for? Why are they there? How can I get in contact with them? Like, just like Robert's taught on this a lot. If somebody's having a yard sale, there's usually a couple reasons. Number one, they need to get rid of stuff. They have too much stuff. Number two, they're thinking about moving, right? So I'm in a ton of yard sale groups because they're thinking about moving. I got probably about a 25% chance half the people that are having yard sales are moving. And if they're asking for boxes on the yard sale group or wherever, the HIP group, there's very few reasons why people need boxes besides moving. Have you ever asked for a box when you weren't moving? No. Okay, so it's learning the different signs and techniques to utilize all the groups that you're a part of, and then also learning what to generate. And you can see those posts. You can see engaging posts. You can think about that, and then strategizing around the mindset of what somebody who is thinking about making a move is going through and the things and the signs to look for, right? And then as they start to engage on your own content, then you can come up with a plan. So on Mondays for us, I do a motivational Monday. I do a poll type question on Tuesday now. I do a what's happening Wednesday. I do an infographic about a particular city. So all the cities surrounding you can do an infographic. You can do, like, we have multiple infographics talking about rent and everything else. And then Fun Fact Friday. I'm sure there's a ton of fun facts about Hawaii. You only got to come up with 52, right? It's not that hard. So, and it's all of Hawaii because you're trying to attract everyone. So if you come up with that daily plan, then all of a sudden you have something to follow. And then you can pre-schedule all those posts to where you're not having to do it every day. So now it's being done. So every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., all that stuff is scheduled for me. I don't have to think about it.
That making sense, Brandy?
Yep.
Yeah. So let me help you with a couple things, okay? So I remember you saying earlier about tourists. Tourists are going to become one of your greatest assets, not just for content. There's 3 sources in Hawaii on all the islands where homeowners and buyers come from. Number 1, tourists. Number 2, there are tourists who saw there. Ask anybody who moved to Hawaii in the last 5 to 6 years who isn't military. And 9 times out of 10, there were tourists who came on their honeymoon. They came on vacation. They loved it so much. I fell in love and they moved there, right? The hotel clerk that I met when I was on my honeymoon, she was like, yeah, I came in here on our honeymoon like 8 years ago. came back, told my husband I loved it. And a year later, we moved to Hawaii. And I was like, okay, so tourists, natives, military. Those are the three sources, right? All three of them, right, are people that can be in your group, right? Easily. All three of them can bring different content. Now, here's a really neat thing that you can do, okay? Your vetting questions. Now, our vetting questions for our groups are a little bit different, but your vetting questions can actually be pretty neat to help you figure out how to serve these people as they're coming in up front. It'll also teach you how to contact them right away and with what. You can ask them questions up front like, what are you most interested about Hawaii? And then have an option that says tourism and attractions. Have an option that says moving and living in Hawaii. And then have another option that says getting to know the military bases or something like that. We can work on the questions. But what that does is that, let's say Tyler comes in and he selects tourism and attraction. You just go and link them to one of your videos where you showed a cool little beach spot that they might not know about. It's reusing the work you've already done. Work that's already in the group too, but they might not see it and they might not find it. You just can send it to them personally. Awesome. Here's my top 10 places that every tourist should know. You could write that down by the end of the day. It would be so fast and easy, right? This is not the United States. There are very specific tourist attractions, great places to eat. You can link them up. Living and moving. Here's the top 10 things you need to know about moving to Hawaii or moving across the ocean, like you just said. So you're directly, before they even get fully into your group, you're bringing them relevant value that you can recycle again and again and again infinitely, right?
So I've got a group in Hawaii, and I'll tell you what my questions are. All right. So are you looking to, of course I do. Right. Are you looking to buy, sell, or rent a home in Oahu? So the answers are, I need to buy a home in Oahu, Hawaii. I need to sell a home in Oahu. I need to rent a home in Oahu. I'm an owner agent and need to advertise my listings. I'm in the process of PCS and making plans accordingly. So I'm going to find out, are they military or are they not? I want to know.
Great question.
Question number 2, please provide your best contact information for one of our team members to assist you with buying and or selling needs. I'm not in Hawaii, right? I leverage this all out. I refer stuff out. And then my third question is, what is your favorite activity in Oahu? I'm going to know what their activity is. I'm going to know if I have something to relate to them about. If I was a scuba instructor and they like scuba diving, my first question isn't going to be, hey, what kind of house do you want? Hey, where do you like going scuba diving? And you start out with a warm conversation with something they actually want to talk about. Then it's like, oh, by the way, I'm a real estate agent. I saw you said you needed to buy a house as well. I would love to help you. I'll also take you scuba diving. So we can do both. It's going to be great. We're going to be friends. And then you can refer me your other scuba diving friends. And then it rolls downhill. That's what I look at. That's how I build my business. I ask people what they like doing. I get to know people. I talk to people. I invite people to play poker. You know what happens when I invite someone to play poker? I become friends. Then they're like, hey, my buddy likes playing poker too. He wants to come play. I say, great, bring it on. Come on over, come play some poker. For you, it's scuba diving, right? Scuba diving does not have to be a solo sport. You don't want to go scuba diving by yourself anyways, usually, right? Because it's dangerous. Yeah. So you want to be in a group. You want to be there for people to take care of you. So it's okay to start to get to know some new people, make those connections with the people you have things commonly interested in. With that said, I like to be the leader of everything that I do. I want to be in charge. I want to be the host. I want to be the person that gets the group of scuba divers together. I want to be the person that's leading that group. Hey, we're all going down here. Everybody come on over. We're getting 15 of us together. We're all going to go scuba dive. It's going to be great. Right? That's me. So whenever I get to know people and start to do that, it compounds. I don't have to know everyone. I just need to know someone, know a handful of people. And then, hey guys, you guys have any friends that want to go with us? That's how my brain works. Right? I play kickball. Same stuff. I don't know if there's social sports. I'm sure there's some type of social sport in Hawaii. Volleyball's got to be huge, right? Tyler's laughing, right? That I'm a semi-pro kickball player. You know why? Because I get paid to do it. So you call it what you want. I'm a semi-pro poker player. I'm a semi-pro kickball player. You call it what you want. You're a professional scuba diver. If you can get paid for scuba diving and you can make friends and get paid for selling real estate while you're scuba diving, you could be a like semi-pro, super pro, whatever you want to call it. I don't care.
Pro. I like that one.
Super pro.
I want to be super pro.
I don't care as long as I'm making the right connections with people that I want to hang out with.
Yep.
I'm trying to become a professional cornhole player, but I will not be on ESPN.
Not yet.
Well, I don't think
Not yet. So, Brandy, everything that Chris just said too, right? You can include people on them. Yeah, it's going outside of your comfort zone a little bit from what you prefer, but it's staying inside something you are passionate about. The people who joining you on it should be passionate about it as well, right? If Chris turned around and asked me to poker, I don't play poker, so I'm not going to go. It's as simple as that. Even though I like Chris, and I you know, a little bit, but no, I'm not going to go play poker. So the people you're going to bring with you are people who want to be there. The other beautiful part is that you just film what you're doing. Hey guys, I'm out with these people. And now you just made content. Remember I told you about task stacking? You just made content for your group. You just built your brand. You just reached out to more people for a relationship. And at the same time, in person, you're making relationships. So it's 2 for 1. With the limited time you have, you just keep stacking it and making the most out of what you're already doing. And you've got this recycling funnel. Then you're going to start to build up your own follow-up plans in your CRM. You're going to remember that you talked to Tyler and Tyler liked this. And then you're going to make a note in your CRM to follow up with him and invite him to this event. You won't have to remember here because you put it in your CRM because you just set that little bit of time each day to go do those things. And it's set for you. Really. You just have this fun process.
I don't do any lead gen that I don't want to do or enjoy doing. If I don't like doing it, I'm not going to stay consistent with it. So there's not even any point in even starting to try it. If I don't like it and I don't want to do it, I don't do it. So I find ways to leverage what I do want to do. I just have to strategically come up with ways to leverage it. I own a beach house in Florida. I'm leveraging that currently. That's going really well.
So how do you leverage other people's groups?
So couple.
You only got 3 minutes, Chris.
Yeah.
I got 3 minutes. That's it. Okay. I only got 3 minutes.
You were like 45 minutes late. Not that you were even supposed to show up anyway.
I didn't know anything about this. I didn't even know what I was getting onto whenever I did get on.
I know. I just sent him the link and I didn't even tell him, Brandy.
I had zero info. I'm just hopping on. I was like, I don't know, whatever. Robert sent me a link. I'll jump on. So anyways, so how to leverage other people's groups. So you're looking for those signs, like I said, that they're moving. You're looking for the people that are commenting, saying that they want to make a move. They will tell you, hey, I'm looking to move. Hey, I'm considering. Hey, if they're asking about the schools in this particular area, why do you think they're asking about schools? They don't live there, obviously, if they're asking about schools, most likely, or they're considering buying a place or they need a place. And then even if they're looking at renting, well, renters are going to become homeowners most likely. So if you can help them out a little bit, provide some value, even if they don't buy with you, if they rent, they still have friends that might want to buy. They're going to have people, maybe family, whatever it is. It's looking at the relationship. It's not looking at the paycheck. It's looking at the relationship. How can I help this person do something that they need? For me, I look for people that need anything. I didn't care if somebody got on a Facebook group that I was in, especially my neighborhood page. They said, hey, I need to borrow a ladder. Hey, I need whatever it is. I need a lawnmower. My lawnmower broke. Fantastic. Come get mine. You can have it. Right? I didn't care. I give it to them. Sometimes I get stuff back. Sometimes it's 3-4 months before they bring stuff back. And then it comes back. I'm like, hey, but you know what? Every single time that I made any connection with someone, I would stand there, talk to them for a little while. I would ask them, play 20 questions, ask them what they do, right? I would make sure that I add them on Facebook as a friend. So all the content that I'm posting about being a real estate agent all the time and everything else, family post, I see it all too. And then who do you think they're going to go to? The guy that let them borrow their lawnmower, right?
Yep.
It wasn't that big. I'm just being me. I don't mind if someone borrows my lawnmower. If I need a lawnmower, I wish somebody had let me borrow one too. So I don't mind to be the guy that loans stuff out, whatever it is, helps other people. That's just me in general. I was doing it before I was a real estate agent. Now I get paid for it.
Awesome. And then I know we have 30 seconds real quick. Were there other lead gen things besides Facebook groups that you were going to talk about?
So there's plenty. But here's the thing. If you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish in the time that you want to accomplish it, I don't think there's a better strategy right now. I could go down the list. You could incorporate YouTube that would complement Facebook. But here's the thing. You got 15 hours in a week. You add YouTube in that, goodbye. It's gone, right? I'm being real with you. It's gone. Video editing, shooting the video, it's gone. And instead, I would pour into this Facebook because there's leads already waiting for you. You've already have some level of familiarity with it. So it's not even a foreign thing. So your learning curve is less than if you try something new, right? And like I said, you can take action right now. You could get off of this, open up your phone, the Facebook app, and get to work on it right away.
Yeah.
And it complements your passions and what you already do. So we can get into more. But again, with how limited your time, and for me, it doesn't make sense to add another lead gen strategy that you won't have the time to properly execute.
How do you feel
Yeah.
about mail?
What'd you say?
About mailers.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you my mailer story. Robert believes in postcards, but it's post closing, and he does it as a way to stay in front of his past clients. I've been mailing my neighborhood plus 75 homes. That's 250 homes for a year. I've had 3 people scan the QR code to get a rough idea of what their home's worth, and none of them answered the phone when I called. And I called and I called and I called and I called and I called. Now I'm committed to doing it over the long run because statistically it takes 2 years of mailing for you to convert. Now, when you mail more in bulk, then it's a little bit easier. But again, mailers are a consistency. It is over and over and over and over and over again until they see you as the expert because you outlasted everyone else. And it can get expensive.
Yep.
That's what I was about to ask. So I always answer that question with how much money do you have to spend?
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have a ton of money to spend, don't do it. Don't even start down that path.
They work. It just takes a long time and it costs a lot of money.
Brandy, when we do a follow-up, as you start to close these deals, follow this process, build your groups, the next leg will be starting to talk about, okay, now how do I expand? Now,
Okay.
how do I add in paid things? How do I bring in a VA to help me run these things? That'll be something that if you're up for it, we'd love to revisit with you maybe in 6 months. I'm going to put a group chat together with all of us here so that you can reach out to us, because that's kind of our thank you for coming on the show and allowing us to share your story with others. It's a very vulnerable, amazing thing that you did. So that's kind of our thank you back to you is, hey, let us keep pouring into you. Let's follow up with you as well. And then kind of follow you on your journey and be there for you and support you through it. Does that sound like okay for you?
Yep.
Awesome.
So, Brandy, I'll
this
leave you
group
with
chat
one
together.
final thought.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Do you know if there are short-term rental regulations on Kauai, what they are, where they are?
Yes. Only certain ones are approved for the Airbnb.
So if I were you and you wanted to find a way to get repeatable clients, become an expert in short-term rentals on your island and
Okay.
know where it can be done, what the restrictions are, what the regulations are, what people need to do in order to get set up, because that is when you become an expert in something like that in real estate investing. That's what I do. I work with investors, but all the people I work with, nobody else is talking to them. They're only talking to me because I'm the expert, right? And I can position myself that way. And there's some other platforms you could leverage for free to get organic clients that are interested in short-term rentals on your island. And when you can give them all the value and all the knowledge and the skill set when they're ready to buy, and they're going to be buying $1 million houses, let's be honest, or
Your average
condos,
price point should be about 1.1,
right?
roughly.
Then it'll work. And if you can set them up to success and help them make money as well as enjoy it and give them tons of value, then they'll come back and they'll buy more, or their friends will buy them. So that's the other quick tidbit. If as you're learning and educating yourself and trying to establish a niche, you can be the person that does, all the fun things like Chris says, or you can be the expert that can help people do something that most other agents won't be experts in.
All right, Brandy, hopefully that wasn't too much for you. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, did you feel like we gave you some value, some very clear action points, not that guru stuff that's up in the clouds and doesn't really make sense and you're like, that's great and all, but how does that apply to me? How do I take step one today? Do you feel like you have some pretty practical things to do now?
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Brandy, thanks so much for coming on Reagent Rescue. Really grateful to have you here. Very excited to connect with you now and to help be there a part of your journey as you walk through this. It's amazing. That group chat will be coming out at you just as soon as I wrap up this episode too. So thank you again for being on the show, Brandy. I really appreciate you. And Tyler and Chris, thanks for jumping on, guys, as well, and pouring into Brandy like this. This is awesome. This is what we believe in. This is what we do. So this is amazing. And for anybody watching, if you have any issues that you're facing in a real estate business, whether you're a new agent, top producer, team leader, brokerage owner, whatever, transplant, who's in a brand new place, no friends, no family, right? And you need some help, leave a comment. We would love to pour into your business, give you some meaningful action steps, just like we did with Brandy, that are relevant to her, relevant to your business. All right. Thank you again, guys, for being on the show. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Aloha.
Later.
Aloha. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching one of our special episodes of Reagent Rescue. I am your host, Robert Bean. We're going to be doing some more of these. And again, if you feel like there is a problem you're facing in your real estate business, no matter where you are and what you do in it, and you could use a little help from industry experts and just overall really helpful people in general, leave a comment. Tell us what your problem is, and we'll get you hooked up and get you on our special episodes. So once again, thank you for coming on Reagent Rescue.